me to do like this? Take it back to middle school? Yeah, that worked. Holy shit. All right, welcome to TBREIA, everybody. My name is Greg Simpson. I'm the president of TBREIA, also one of the co-founders and CEO over at Outfast Realty and Investments, all Outfast brands, if you will. Excited to have you guys here tonight. We have a really great presentation, as always, for you guys. And we're going to get this thing started with my subgroup hosts and my sponsors, and I'll give you my spiel, and then we're going to jump right into tonight's presentation. So who wants to go first? First up? All right.
If you're not first, you're last.
That's right.
So we're doing subgroup first?
Hey, what's up, everybody? For those of you that don't
Subgroups in the back.
My name is Michael Aragon. I'm the new sub-host for co-host for the Southern Tampa meeting. So the meeting takes place the first Wednesday of every month at the Glory Days on North Down Mabry. So right in Carrollwood, just south of Bears, north of Fletcher. Come out, hang out, have a drink, have some food, learn about real estate. We've got my buddy coming in this month. He's been flipping and wholesaling for about 25 years. He actually helped me get into the business. So it's going to be a great presentation, learn how to get into it, learn how to sustain the business, and stay in it for many years as he has. So come out, Glory Days, first Wednesday of every month, North Down Mabry. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Denise, this is Gary, and we are your new hosts for the South Hillsborough subgroup meeting. We are actually meeting and kicking off next week, the 22nd, so that's Tuesday, down at the Sunset Bar and Grill in Ruskin. And we are going to have none other than our own Greg. So come down, meet us, check out the venue, and connect with people down in South Hillsborough.
I am one of the two co-hosts of the Brandon subgroup meeting, and I plan to be in their meeting next Tuesday. And I will be there after a closing that's taking place at Old Tampa Bay Title. Yeah! And if all goes well by Tuesday, I'm going to throw this out there, in case you want to hear from somebody who's actually doing deals. If all goes well by Tuesday, within a 1 week period, I will have bought 67 doors. Wow. So, and that will be a record for me. That will be my biggest week so far, by about 60. Mark Castile and I host the Brandon subgroup meeting. We meet at O'Brien's on Lumsden and Brandon on the first Monday of every month, unless it's a holiday. And this month coming up, it's a holiday. It's Labor Day, so don't come on the first Monday of September, but come on the first Monday of October to hear Alex Jandik speak, and then the first Monday of November to hear Adrian Smoot speak about mobile homes. We are, and we have a period of time, we've been enjoying the heck out of this, where we analyze a deal at every meeting. So if you bring a deal, it's your deal we analyze. If you don't bring a deal, then it's one of our deals we analyze. But just to help people know how to crunch the numbers, we're thrilled to do that. So come join us in Brandon the first Monday of every month, unless it's a holiday.
Hey guys, Rob DeJory here with Bolt Lending Group. We have Mario. We're the hosts of the South Tampa meetup, and we're going to try a new menu next month. We're going to be at Hyde House. It's a co-working space in Hyde Park Village, so we'll be upstairs in a meeting room there. We have Natalia speaking next month, September 12th. LCO Law. What else? What else you got?
Natalia is going to be incredible. I'm giving you as much FOMO as possible. She's a sponsor, and she's going to cover the top 10 mistakes that you guys can make as investors. Who wants to learn the top 10 mistakes? Right? So you need to be at the South Tampa meeting. If you want to JV with us, just reach out to us. But whatever we can do to help you guys get your first, second, 10th, 20th, 100th deal, just come out and we will help you any way we can.
What do you mean she's going to be fantastic? She already is.
All right, here you go. Guys. All right, so I'm going to fill in the gaps. You guys can give them a round of applause. It may not be as pretty as Jerry, but So we have a couple other meetings. We have the most meetings in all of West Florida. Here in the Tampa area, we have, I think, what are we, Jennifer, 9 meetings, I think, a month now. I personally run this one, obviously, and I run the breakfast meeting that meets in Ybor now on the second Tuesday of every month. We also have a Wesley Chapel slash Lutz meeting where Derby LaRock hosts that. She's the land queen here in the group, and she does probably like, you know, $30,000 to $70,000 a month in wholesaling land every single month. So you want to learn from Derby and her people, you may want to go to that meeting as well. We have a Clearwater meeting, and we have a St. Pete meeting. So depending on where you're located, we've got you guys covered pretty much everywhere. Did I miss anybody? I think so. So yeah, we've got, I think, 8 or 9 meetings every single month, plus potential happy hours and other events that we may be having as well. So make sure you guys make it out to as many of them as you can. My recommendation for all of you guys who are maybe your first time to this group, find one that is closest to your home. It's the reason we have so many of these all over the place, because I want to make it as easy as possible for you guys to at least make it to 1 meeting a month. I personally would never expect any of you, unless your name is Jeremy Cloder, to make it to every single meeting every single month. It's just almost impossible. But guys like Jeremy and his wife Gloria, when they first started, did go to every single meeting every single month. Caveat, we only had 5 meetings back then. Did we even have a main meeting back when you started, Jeremy? Did we even have a main meeting when you first started here at TBREIA? I don't think we did. I don't think so. Anyway, so you guys got a little bit of slack to go, okay? But find one that's closest to your home, so you can always make that one. Pay attention to the calendar in your email. I know we send you a crap ton of emails because we do have so many events, but make sure you're looking out for events that might really pique your interest, as if you want to learn something specific about wholesaling. Go to the wholesaling one that maybe if it's in Brandon and you live in Newport Richie, you might want to make the trip, especially when Alex is speaking. You definitely want to learn that from Alex, okay? You know, and so on and so forth. Flip, fix, and flip, whatever you want to learn, find it, and then go to that meeting no matter what. And last but not least, do your best to always come to this one, because we always have a very cool topic for you guys, which is one of my favorites is tonight, which we're going to get into. But guys, make sure you are doing the number one thing that will crush your business. If you don't do it, maybe I don't think maybe it's maybe 10A, 10B, network. Get out of your comfort zone and network when you come to these events. Don't just sit on your ass and just expect the business to come to you. Go make shit happen for yourself by walking around the room and making sure you're introducing yourself to everybody, exchanging business cards, exchanging contact information. It doesn't happen on its own, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, we're going to bring up our sponsors. Our sponsors are people who we know, like, and trust ourselves at OutFast or here at TBREIA. We use them on a regular basis, or we have vetted them as credible vendors for you guys and sponsors to make sure that they can take good care of you when you have an issue arise or you need their services. And so without further ado, Taylor with Pad Split. We love Pad Split.
Go Taylor! Hi guys, I'm Taylor. I am the account executive for Tampa for Pad Split. Greg is one of my hosts. He loves us. So what Pad Split is the marketplace that you would put your rental property on. You're able to make double, sometimes triple your rent on the same property. So the same one you make maybe $2,000 on, you can put it on Pad Split, rent it out by the room to the workforce in this community that need affordable housing, and you could make maybe like $5,000 or $6,000 on that same property. So I can walk you through the model. I can go walk properties with you guys, let you know how it happened. If you guys are interested, come in, or hit up Greg. He's got lots of good deals. We also have one of our contractors here. Woo, go Rob. We love that. If you guys are interested, come and talk to me later.
Hey guys, I'm Tangie Cousins. I'm a nationwide lead provider. We provide leads to investors, realtors, attorneys, just your basic first-time home buyers as well. A lot of people have bought their first homes with us. When I say leads, I mean lists. Lists like probates, pre-probates, inheritance, code violation, eviction, divorce, but probates and pre-probates are the best leads out there. Honestly, they have a ton of equity. They typically don't mind taking discounts and they're extremely motivated. People are almost always 60, 70 years old when their parents pass, so they usually almost do not want the properties. They typically want to sell the properties, and they're usually very motivated, and there's usually a ton of equity in the properties. So a lot of times you can get these for deeply discounted wholesaling prices. Just had a guy wholesale a property a few weeks ago in Hillsborough County and made $80,000 on a wholesale. A lot of people think you have to finish the whole entire probate before you buy the property. That is not true. You can actually purchase it right away, but because people think that, the competition is very, very minimal. The difference between our company and other companies out there is all of our leads are weekly and fresh and physically farmed for real estate. Other companies tend to be quarterly and they're not physically farming for real estate. Nobody wants to buy 300 probates or 300 divorce if only 7 to 10% of them are going to own property. So you do get a discount for mentioning TBREIA. Raise your hand if you'd like a flyer.
We love you too. And Jason too.
This guy's got a question.
So I'll apply.
Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Jason. I'm an IRA specialist with Newview Trust. We're a self-directed IRA custodian. What we do is we help clients get their retirement funds out of the stock market, their old 401ks and other IRAs, and in a vehicle that they can then fund their real estate investing with. By doing that, it's money just sitting on the sidelines, and we're there to help you get the funds out of the stock market and into the properties that you're looking to invest in.
Tax-free.
Tax-free, absolutely. Tax-free or tax-deferred growth, absolutely.
Hey guys, AJ Weed with CPI Capital. We are a hard money / investment lender, primarily focusing on fix and flip, ground up construction, and we have a DSCR product as well. So if you're ever analyzing a deal, need someone to run comps, run numbers, feel free to give me a shout. And for my realtors and wholesalers, if you send us a deal that closes, we'll pay you $1,000. So just some food for thought.
What's DSCR?
DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. Basically, if you buy a lot of real estate and you try to get conventional financing, you probably know it's an absolute beatdown with documentation. So DSCR acceptable. So sorry, Rob.
He does DSCR too.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, just looking at the cash flow of the property, that's how you qualify. Don't need tax returns, pay stubs, W-2s. Your whole real estate schedule, mortgage statements, all that stuff. So, DSCR.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Rob with Rehab in the Box, powered by Recrumex. First of all, I want to thank Taylor for the shameless plug. We really appreciate Pat Split and doing a lot of projects with them. Also, a client of Newview. We have a vacation home in Newview, and it's time for nothing. So, anyways. Plugs are over. So Rehab in the Box. Rehab in the Box was created by Recrumex. We're a general contractor. We're based in Orlando. We service Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville. So what we've done is taken about 12 years of experience working with large institutional investors. And the reason they're successful is because of their systems. And the reason that our individual investors and ourselves struggle is because we don't have those systems in place. So Rehab in the Box, we've created those systems and processes to streamline your rehab process. So you can do what you do best, find those properties, fund them, get them rolling, we'll take care of the rehab. Make it very simple and straightforward. We have 3 selections you pick. Silver, gold, platinum. You pick that package, it's already pre-selected. All the painkillers, everything is in that package. So you don't have to do anything but pick the package, and then we order the materials right away, get the process going, and make y'all money. You guys go out and get more process. So we're really here to help scale your business from the rehab. And we want to be your contractor. And again, Pat Split can tell you that we do a good job, and we're excited to be here. It's my first time. So thank you so much. Again, Rob with Rehab in the Box, powered by Recrumex.
Hello everyone, my name is Natalia Willette-Bryce. I want to first say, please reemphasize, take advantage of those subchapter meetings. You will always learn something. You will find excellent mentors there. So I own LCO Law. I am a real estate investor attorney. I help with asset protection, but in my heart, I'm just a giant teacher. So that's why you see all the books back there. You can grab one for free. Some of the free information that we have available out there too, because we have a YouTube channel. If you just look up LCO Law LLC on YouTube, you're going to see hundreds of videos tailored just for real estate investors. We recently released an 18-part series for you realtors out there on SB 264. That's the one that impacts who you can sell to if they're a non-U.S. citizen. So get informed about that. Stay out of trouble because there are criminal penalties involved. And the other video that we're going to be, releasing that I just recorded today has to do with domestic asset protection trust. So if you hear these like asset protection, Delaware trust, all these things, it talks to you about those hidden tax consequences that you may not have been told about. So anyway, my giant brain is here for the picking. I'll be here after the meeting if you have questions, and please enjoy everybody else's warm water.
Good evening, everybody. I'm looking at the smartest people in Tampa, because you're here and the rest of them aren't. You get a lot of good things out of a meeting like this. I am Mac McWhorter with Worldwide Trustee Services, helping people build wealth, maintain privacy, and avoid probate since 2008. Corporate trustee, independent trustee for your land trust, personal property trust, and if you have some lazy money in your IRA, self-directed IRA, we can bring it out to a checkbook control trust. Do all your dealing out of that and save you a lot of ding fees with your administrator. I'm over here at the table, got flyers and cards for you. 813-690-6678. And I want to introduce you to a man outstanding in his field, Farmer Ralphie Z.
Let's give up for Mac Daddy over here. Mac, all right, Mac, you did a great job. Thanks for the introduction, buddy. It's not Farmer Ralphie Z. It's Ralphie Z, straight out the 813, your Tampa title guy. What's up, TBREIA? How's everybody doing there? How you doing, everyone? Like I mentioned, my name is Ralph Saller. I'm the Business Relations Manager at Old Tampa Bay Title. We are a real estate attorney on an operated title company. We focus working with investors like yourselves, whether you're investing in mobile homes, whether you're investing in standard residential or also commercial real estate. We handle it all. We have 4 offices here in Tampa, but we also do transactions all over the state of Florida as well. In addition to the 3 attorneys, we have an awesome escrow team, and I can't believe it already. It's almost been 5 years we've been a sponsor here, man. So first and foremost, I want to just thank everybody as well. There's a lot of familiar faces in here whom my team has had the privilege and honor of helping to close your files. So I just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to take part in those awesome days. And then if we have not worked together, just want to let you know, I don't want your real estate transactions, don't let them fall to pieces, grab a Reese's and give me a call. Right. There it is. See, you heard it, finally, you heard it. Who wants a Reese's? My man wants a Reese's. All right, there you go. Oh, we got a Reese's up here. She wants a Reese's. Share with your friends, share with your friends. If you don't like Reese's, like you're a communist or something, get out of there.
Some of it's not who we like it, it's who we need it.
Fair.
So hey everybody, my name is Gary Hager. I'm here representing Alchemist Nation. We are getting ready to go to Orlando November 3 through 5 for the 100 Millionaire Summit. It's coming up. If you don't have your tickets, then you are behind times. Let me tell you, 1 year ago today, I was sitting out there where you are, and no one in this room knew who I was. Because I thought that coming to a meeting like this, and when someone sitting down and when someone walked up to me, if I handed them my business card, that I was networking. Let me tell you, if that's your idea of networking, you don't know what networking is. All right? Listen, I got with Alchemist Nation. It was actually Walter Morella, the guy on that picture that's right in the middle. He came to the Brandon TBREIA, and he said, come to the 100 Millionaire Summit. I said, me and my wife have been to enough real estate conferences. We're done with that. Okay, we spend enough money on real estate conferences, and we're not spending any more. He said, I'll give you free tickets. I'm like, all right, good, we'll go. Listen, folks, this is not a real estate conference. This is a conference about leveling up. Leveling up yourself and your business. See the guy that's down on there, the guy with a real clean face? Point at him, Mary Lynn. Doug McGurk. Doug McGurk right there. Tony Robbins' top coach for 3 years in a row. Comes in 3 times a day while you're there to do mindset training. Vinny Chopra came to America with $7 in his pocket from India. He's now a billionaire involved in the multifamily market. And we got Galton Morello, wrote the book, Broke to $1 Million. Hey, look, there's some familiar guy down in the lower left-hand corner that's going to be
two bald guys.
the bald guy over there. Look at that. He's speaking. So listen, it's going to be the place to be November 3 through 5. We teach you, they teach you to level up your life. Now today, after a year with Alchemist Nation, I now run the Multifamily Investors Network of Tampa. I run the Tampa Bay Landlord Association, Central Florida Landlord Association. I'm now a network leader for RGA. I'm now a network leader for TBREIA. So it's leveling up. It's leveling up. And guys, I don't go out looking for a bunch of deals now. People are starting to bring deals to me, and that's what it's about. So if you want to level up yourself, if you want to level up your business, that is the place to be. November 3 through 5. Come back, scan our QR code, get your tickets. It's $667 for 2 tickets. 2 tickets, and it will change your life. It changed mine.
I'm Rob again. I'm an independent mortgage broker, primarily specialized in residential lending, so FHA, VA, jumbo, first-time home buyer. So once you guys make all that money in real estate from all these strategies we're learning up here today, I can help you buy your first home, or buy your second home, or your first investment property. Best way to contact me is through Instagram. Mortgage Rob is the Instagram name. Thanks.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jeremy Cloder. I'm business partners with Greg on a lot of the Outfast stuff, but I run the property management company. So we specialize in Hillsborough, Pinellas County, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater. There's a lot of things, places that we manage: single family, multifamily, whether you're a private investor, just accidental landlord, doing syndications. You know, we just do a variety of different clients, people that live local, out of state. We have a couple out of the country as well. So some of the big value adds that we're able to add right now in the market, a lot of multifamily guys are shopping these deals around. We know insurance, taxes, all this stuff starting to kill deals. So when it comes to due diligence, if you're looking at deals, we're happy to help you guys just take a look, whether it's a single family deal, combing through the leases, rent rolls, making sure everything matches up. We're happy to help you guys with that. If you have inspection reports, going through that, looking proactively at maintenance, CapEx projects. We're probably going to do about $1.5 million in maintenance and CapEx projects this year. So if you're doing unit renovations, anything we can be a part of, we're happy to help. Even if you're your self-owned, self-managing, owner, or you have your own management team, just happy to collaborate. Anything we can, whether it's vendors, doing deals. I'm really excited tonight about the private lending because that's 90% of the stuff that we do is private capital, borrowing from other people that we know, and that's how I did my first deal. Is someone brought with money. I had the know-how in the operations, so I'm excited you guys are here this evening. Anything we can do to help, Jeremy at outfastpropertymanagement.com. Cell phone's 813-610-0015. And LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, it's all just my first name, last name. So appreciate you guys coming out, and we have to save the best for last year.
Hi, good evening. I'm Hayden. I buy the really structurally messed up houses. The sinkhole settlement subsidence homes, burned up, blown up houses, falling into the ground, crystal meth houses. So if you have any of those houses and you're kind of looking at them and saying, I'm not going to touch this one, half the houses in a hole, I'm very interested in those houses. I'm also very interested in the houses that are structurally messed up financed. So if there's no equity in their foreclosure and it's over leveraged, I'm interested in those houses. And you think to yourself, how am I going to benefit from it? I'll pay you, I'll pay them to leave, and I'll bring their mortgage current. So if you come across those properties and it's a real structural messed up and there's a lot of litigation, unfortunately I like litigation, okay, unfortunately. But if you come across those houses, do not run away. Very interested in them, very interested in them. It's Hayden, been doing it for 26 years. I'm the guy who liquidates out. There is no wholesaling, I'm the guy who funds. 727-560-6850. Now once again, remember, if you get stressed out in this real estate industry, do not squeeze my balls, just give me a call. Okay? I got shirts in the back for short and small, big Okay, you don't have the sack to do it? I got sacks back there for you. Okay, so I got all kinds of paraphernalia for you. Merch everywhere. I got towels, whatever you need. Once again, it's Hayden, 727-560-6850. Thank you. Anybody need an extra ball?
He was on point tonight. Sometimes he fumbles it up, but today, man, he was good. Okay, so I'm gonna make this as fast as possible. How many of you guys have been told by a relative, a friend, colleague, that once you told them you were gonna get into real estate investing, they looked at you like you had two heads, that you were crazy, or there's no effing way you know what you're doing and could ever do that? How many of you ever had that happen to you? Oh, come on. Get your hands up.
The other people
Okay, so the reason I asked that question is because I want you guys to know that you're not alone. Most everybody who gets into real estate, whether you're an agent, investor, you know, anything along those lines, has been told at some point, I got something, that they are crazy. What the hell do you know about real estate investing, or what do you know about being a real estate agent, whatever the case may be. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't matter what background you come from, you can do this, okay? I don't have a Harvard degree. I don't have a degree from any college for that matter. I went to USF for 2 years in a semester and dropped out to become a pool guy. I own my own company, that's besides the point, but I did run that company for many years. And I saw a seminar, or an advertisement for a seminar, for a free seminar for 2 hours. I go to the free seminar, they pitch the whole thing about going to a 3-day thing for $1,500. Long story short, $50,000 later, after going to masterminds and mastery classes and all whatever crap, that's nonsense, okay? But what happened through that was I found a mentor. And if you guys have not been searching for a mentor, that's where you're falling short, first and foremost. I don't care how many seminars you go to, how many TBREIA events you go to, how many people you network with, if you aren't looking to get mentorship from somebody who's already where you want to be, you will never get to the next level. And that's what happened to me. I had somebody in that Facebook group from that master mentor crap said, hey, I am investing in St. Petersburg, Florida. Anybody in the group, can anybody in the group help me out? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm born and raised in St. Pete. Yeah, one of those weird freaks that actually was born and raised here in Florida. And sure enough, I got to learn from Luke Weber, who has written multiple books now on learning how to invest in real estate. I did everything he told me to do without question. I need you to go do this. Yes, sir. I need you to go do that. Absolutely. When do you need it by? Yesterday. I'm on it. And so it's not like, oh, I'll get to it when my mentor needs it. No, no, the mentor says you need to go, you go now. You got a 9-to-5 job, quit your fucking job and go do what the mentor tells you to do. I'm not kidding. I tell my students sometimes, hey, motivated seller college, what you gonna do if you have a 9-to-5 job? They're looking at dead deer in the headlights. I go, take up smoking. What do they get that we don't? You're not a smoker. They get a 15-minute smoke break every 4 hours. Well, take my smoke break, boss. I'm gonna make my phone call. You think I'm kidding? I'm dead serious. You do what it takes to make it happen. And too many people come to these events and have for the 7 years I've been running this, talk a big game and never show up the next time. They never go to the next one, they never show up to their subgroup meeting, but they talk the big game when they came here. And then when I follow up with them, 6 months, 9 months, a year, oh, it wasn't for me, I didn't get any traction, I didn't work. No, 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 you didn't work. You didn't work. This isn't easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. So I have an exercise for you guys really, really, really quickly before I get the panel up here. I want you all to close your eyes. Seriously. This is not any foo-foo, weird chanting or anything like that. I just want you to close your eyes. And I want you to raise your hand if this is your first ever real estate investor meeting. Okay? How many of you are fix and flippers? You got a few, okay. How many want to be fix and flippers that are not currently doing it, okay? How many of you want to be wholesalers? Hands up. I need to see them, y'all. Hands up. No one else. Everyone's got their eyes closed. Okay. How many of you are wholesaling currently? I've actually done a couple deals. Okay. Very good. How many of you guys are landlords? Oh, all right. Kind of give away the secret. There's a lot of you on that one. All right, that's it. That was it, guys. That's all. The reason I ask you guys to do that is because usually you're too afraid. And you have to use that whole thing. How many of you are not going to raise your hands no matter what I ask you to do? And then I get a chuckle. No, seriously. I wanted to know who's in the room. Just because of my own satisfaction. Because I want to know when the next time you come, if you were a real estate agent, you're an investor, or whatever you're trying to do, I can call you out on it next time. How's that wholesaling going? How's that fix and flip going? Okay, so that was my own gratification. So, point being, guys, show up, do the work, make shit happen. Because guess what? You can raise all the capital you want here tonight. You can learn from the best of the best on how to raise capital for your deals. If you aren't going to go out there and find the deals, what difference does it make? Because guess what? When you find the deals, it gets really easy to do these deals. Raise the money. You guys agree with that? All right. So without further ado, I'm going to get this awesome panel up here. We're going to talk about raising private equity tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys want to have a seat, give them a round of applause. Give up their time tonight. All right, one last thing. I almost forgot to do it because we were a little bit behind. So we had to move to this room last month and tonight as well because the other room that we're normally in right by the bar, their AC is still not fixed. Okay? But with that being said, last month, because we had a huge national speaker in and everything, we forgot, apparently we all forgot, that the real good shit doesn't just happen in here, it does happen at the bar. I'm not saying you have to be an alcoholic and drink a bunch of beer tonight, but that's where the magic happens. You're talking networking a lot already. You don't have to drink, but you don't have to eat food, but go to the bar afterwards. Before, with it being right outside the bar, it was very easy for you guys to get stuck there and start talking to people. Last month we had Rod in here, and everyone stood in here for about 30 minutes or so. I went to the bar, and no one was there. So it felt weird. We're the fun BREIA. We like to have fun, because I always say if you're not having enough fun doing real estate, you're doing it wrong. Okay? So I encourage you to carve out an extra 30 minutes to an hour after every one of the main meetings. I'm telling you how much money I raise over there is insane at the bar. Okay? So I hope to see you guys after the bar. I need one more thing, you guys. Who wants to be my mic runner for tonight? Boom, you just got a free membership. So basically, when somebody has a question for them, run it to them. Okay? I'll let you guys introduce yourselves if you could, and talk about what your experience is, and let's get this thing rocking and rolling.
Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Is this on? Is this on? No?
You should drop off. Okay, sorry.
How do we do that? Oh, just like that.
Hold it down. Hold it down.
Hold it down.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Good to go.
Well, thanks Jennifer and Greg for giving us the opportunity to speak today. This is really exciting, talking about our favorite topic, capital raising. My name is Benesocky. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CPI Capital. It's a real estate private equity firm with its mandate to partner with passive investors as our limited partners to acquire institutional multifamily assets. Institutional is anything 100 doors plus. We focus on the value add multifamily assets, anything with a lipstick upgrade where we can go in there and bring in our superstar team, renovate the projects, and our investors get monthly distributions and cash flow, passive income, and create really an alternative source of income for themselves and their family. I want to really get into my background and where I came from, but I'm going to give these two gentlemen an opportunity to introduce themselves, and then I'll take over again.
Rule number one in capital raising is always be selling, and you follow the rule number one, I guess.
Who's next?
Go ahead. You want to go life story? Yeah. Hello, everyone. Great to be here, Jennifer Cola. Thank you for the invite. Greg, pleasure to meet you. Mac, I like what you said. We've got the smartest people in Tampa here today. My name is Adam Carswell from Cleveland, Ohio, originally. All right, let's go. You know what? I noticed that since living here, we got a lot of Ohioans invading Tampa, along with plenty of people from around the world, including Canadians. We're actually all kind of Canadian. My wife is Canadian, so welcome to Canada, everyone.
We're from Vancouver.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, it all started in Cleveland. Played basketball growing up. That took me to playing 4 years at Westminster College, which is about an hour north of Pittsburgh. Had a pretty good career there. Went and actually played semi-pro in Belize for a little bit. Got my master's while I was there, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to America and do what will make my parents proud, get a job with the Fortune 500 and work my way up the ladder. W-2 all the way, right? Nah, nope. After a couple of years, realized this isn't for me. Want to take life in my own hands. Got my real estate license in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Did that for a couple of years, and along the way, met a gentleman who wrote the book on raising capital. It's called Raising Capital for Real Estate. If anyone here knows who Hunter Thompson is, that's who I work with now. I heard Hunter on a podcast 6 years ago, and I was like, I want to be like that guy. Let me reach out. So I reached out. That led to me becoming really one of his first mentees. Talked about mentorship. Greg, I don't know where he went, but amen to that.
He's already networking.
Now, know where to find Greg. So yeah, meeting Hunter, really changed my life. Well, I worked with him first on just a few part-time, marketing projects here and there. That led to then really leading the sales front on everything as far as our educational products are concerned. In the middle of COVID, 2020, December 2020 to be specific, we launched Raise Masters, the #1 mastermind for elite capital raisers. Since then, it's been about 3.5 years. I think as of right now, are 424 clients, capital raisers, sponsors, operators. It's been a really fun journey. In many ways, I feel like we're just getting started here. So I like to throw this disclaimer out here. I'm sitting on a private equity panel as an expert, and I've never actually raised $1. However, I've worked with 500 capital raisers, sponsors, operators on a daily basis. Probably talked to some of you here before. If not, I'm sure we'll be talking soon. I know the top characteristics that help people raise money the fastest, and we just keep crushing it on all things when it comes to raising money. So, Adam Carswell, happy to be here, happy to share the secret sauce with you guys here tonight. And Mr. August, I'll pass it over to you.
August Biniaz. August Biniaz with CPI Capital. I'm the Chief Investment Officer with CPI Capital. I'm also a co-founder. I happen to be working for Ava. She's the CEO, so also her husband. But yeah, my background in real estate is I'm a real estate veteran. I've been in real estate for the past 20 years. I started out as a real estate agent. Wasn't really the best real estate agent, but I was great at being able to find deals. So I started doing small fix and flips, and didn't really understand the concept of raising money or raising capital. But I did go to my friends, family. My mom was my first investor, and started my own general contracting company. From there, I started building single-family spec homes. So for those who might not know, there's a difference between spec and custom. A spec is a home you build to put in the market and sell. Custom is a home you build for somebody to their specifications. So I was building both spec and custom homes until one day I heard about this business called syndication funds. I always knew about funds and ability to raise capital to buy companies, what the private equity world does. But I didn't know that was happening in the real estate world. I always thought that I was limited my growth was limited to how much capital I had access to, either personally or by my very close circle of influence. But when I realized that there's an ability to raise capital on a large scale, I really fell in love with that model. Right around that time is when I met my now wife, and we co-founded CPI Capital, which is a real estate private equity firm, utilizing the syndication model to raise equity for our deals. And we really went into, to say it was a rabbit hole is an understatement. We really dedicated our lives to this concept of raising capital. Now, in my experience building single-family homes and raising capital from family and friends, the deal flow was never the issue. It was always deals there. The issue was always equity and debt as well. In commercial real estate, particularly multifamily, the banks beg to give you money, and you can always bring in a KP to sign on the loan. But the equity that's why when we started CPI Capital, I wanted the focus to be on the equity side of the business because the difficulties I had on the single family side development. So we can talk more about it. I don't want to take the whole time here, but we utilize different strategies. Some of the strategies that are in Hunter Thompson's book, and really building a brand around ourselves, building a brand around our company, creating our own tribe who follows us, who connects with us, because you're not going to connect with everybody who wants to invest with you. Some people might not like to even stand you for an hour, let alone want to, sign a 200-page document and give you $100,000 to do what you want to do with it. So you got to connect with people, and that was our really background and journey, but I can get more into it.
Yeah, no, I'd love to take a little bit again. Before I met August, I was actually starting my real estate career when I was 22 years old. In a small, in Canada, in Alberta, in a small city, a small town called Fort Saskatchewan. And everybody knew, like, and trusted me, and that's a big, there's a triangle, it's know, like, and trust. We'll get more into that about raising capital, but everybody knew, like, and trusted me there. So it was very easy for me to kind of scale my business as a realtor and do very, very well. I was making great money at a young age. Of course, we all have big dreams, we always want more, the grass is always greener on the other side. And I decided one day that I was going to move to the province next to us called British Columbia. And in British Columbia, I had this vision, this dream of being a top performing realtor with all of these sharks. The world really works in mysterious ways. And as I was kind of on my journey to do that, I actually ended up meeting August. And again, he got really excited about this concept of syndication, where somebody finds a deal, you find investors, you create trust with investors, you close on the deal, and then you execute the business plan. It sounded like the most exciting thing that we've ever heard of. So we had all these grandiose plans. We're like, oh my God, this is so amazing, this is so exciting. But there was one big problem. We didn't know, well, we knew some, but we obviously had our family, friends, and obviously the people that we built in our database over the years, but we didn't really know a whole lot of high net worth investors. So when I mentioned we close on institutional multifamily deals, these are large assets. These are 20, 30, $50 million deals. You got to raise a significant amount of equity. So that's where our journey began, and we said, okay, let's get on this. How do we start raising capital and really connecting with people, but building that know, like, and trust? We started a podcast. It's now called Real Estate Investing Demystified, where we've interviewed
You'll
over...
subscribe right now to that podcast.
We actually interviewed Adam. It was one of the best episodes ever.
One of my favorite. That's seriously.
Thank you.
You guys have a great show.
Thank you so much. Started our podcast, guys. We started our YouTube show. We started speaking on platforms all across Canada and the US, because of course we're Canadians investing in US real estate. We started being very active on social media platforms. We started having tons of booths at all these different conferences, and the calls started coming in. And it was really exciting for me, but I never thought I was going to be investor relations, or my role in the company really is operations, but I'm focused on the equity side of the business. And I never had a mentor, I never had any training, I never worked for a real estate private equity firm before. So I do advise everybody here today, when they talked about mentorship, please take that seriously, because we built our company from the ground up, and there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So for real, get a coach, get a mentor. But yeah, we just went head in. The calls started coming in, and to date I probably had close to 1,500 calls with investors. On my cell phone, there's a good 600 accredited investors who have my personal cell phone number, email, and I've created this relationship with them. You want to say something?
Yeah, no, I just want to say that the question that comes in my mind is this idea of the chicken or the egg, right? So is it the deal first? Is it the equity first? Which comes first, right? In our case, because of my background in real estate and on the single family side, I advise my team that my partners that we got to focus on the equity side. We can always get deals. We can always partner with another sponsor to do deals. It's the equity. We got to build that brand around ourselves, and they trusted me, and then we ended up putting a lot of time in creating content. And David talked about that know, like, and trust triad. It really starts with the know, right? People have to know you exist, so then they can like you and then trust you to invest with you. But if they don't know you exist, it can't ever be a business deal done. So we started creating a lot of content out there, very active on social media. Basically, multi-pronged approach in being able to connect with investors and adding value was there was never a sales pitch there. It was always adding value, always creating content. We got our newsletters. We got a CRM early on. We went through, and he talks about blood, sweat, and tears. We tried so many different CRMs. If you would have got a coaching program, they would have told us first what the best CRM is. We're going to try out all of them. So on our, every time we meet someone, if it's, in our social life or business life, we always add them to our CRM because we send out a comprehensive weekly email that talks about what's happening in the market. We have a newsletter that we write every week. We have market updates. So they're receiving our emails every week. And on that CRM, we can see who's opening our emails and how many times they're opening our emails. So, if let's say physicians seem to match our perfect investor avatar because they're high income earners, they're not really good at business, they want to be hands off, so they match that perfect investor type that
They
we
want to
like.
invest in real estate, but they don't have the time.
Exactly. Maybe they've already invested, they don't want to be, stressed with toilets and tenants.
Yeah.
So we can see on the CRM, hey, this doctor from this place has opened our email 6 times. Everyone talks to our team, maybe we should get on a call with them so, he seems interested. So we can use technology also to stay up, staying up to date with your investors, because last thing you want is to come to an event like this, meet someone that might be interested in your business idea, whatever your business idea is. It doesn't have to be like we're focused on multifamily value add, but yours could be short-term rental, it could be ground-up development, it could be hospitality. Whatever your business idea is, you might connect with someone who's interested in that. You might get their number, you might not get their information, but you call them back 6 months down the road when you have a deal, they might not even remember who you are. So you need to have a nurture process, and I don't know, maybe you can touch on that.
Well, you hit a really important thing there, which is not only do people need to know, like, and trust you, they literally have to be obsessed with you by the time they get on the phone with you. And if you build it, they will come. Great movie, wrong message. Capacity has to be built up before that initial phone call, and you probably even need to have some systems or automations in place before they get on the phone with you, because I don't know about you guys, but one thing that we see a lot is someone's just got schedule call everywhere. You're getting on the phone with someone who's not even looking at investing in a deal, they're trying to pitch you on a deal. So you really got to filter things like this out. And I think that, to kind of drive this one home, it really holistically is the personality that's going to attract people to you. We talk about attract, educate, nurture, close. The attraction phase is really where it all begins. And I want to just use a real life example to feel like you really get to know us a little bit here today before even considering a further conversation. I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, Ava. Okay. She's 6 months pregnant, so bravo to that. And that's a personal. Sorry.
It's a boy.
Clap it up. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. But it's little things like that that help people really buy into you before you start talking about IRR or whatever, fill in the blank. So it's also been very fun to watch you guys grow. I remember when you first hit the scene on LinkedIn, it was probably like 3 years ago. Yeah. And I had someone tell me, because I lived in Canada at the time, hey, there's these Canadian people that are, I think they're doing what you do. You might want to reach out to them. And I was like, I've seen them making noise. I don't know who they are. They just hit the scene. But you guys really are, after 3 years of dedication to getting your names, your faces, your brands, and your personalities out there. I'm sure, as you mentioned, things are a little bit different now than 3 months into it. So I think Greg mentioned this too. It's not easy. You have to endure long enough at being bad in order to become good at anything. And you guys are just a shining testimonial of how to do it the right way. Thank you.
You're a sweetheart. Thanks, Adam. I love that you said that. You gotta keep putting effort in. A quick story about our background is the chicken or the egg. I wanted to touch on this because obviously August had really great deals before, and he'd go looking for investors. It's not the easiest thing in the world. For us, on an institutional deal, you have to raise quite a bit of equity, and we were so worried that we were going to spend all this time incurring a deal, finding it, and then where's the investors at? You can't scramble around last minute when there's an amazing deal on the table to then try to close on it.
When you put a $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 non-refundable deposit, and then you got to go try to syndicate a deal, and on the large scale, it's just.
That's right.
It's
a scary thing, right? So we actually internally said, okay, we got to build up our investors first. So what we did is we actually did it completely opposite than most people do. Most people start out with like a duplex, fourplex, 10plex. We wanted to do an institutional multifamily deal in the US. So we're like, let's build up our investor community. And we probably spent a good year building up our investor community before we actually took down our first deal. It was very successful because we all obviously nurtured those investors for that year, and we were able to execute when we finally got there. But that's something for everybody here today, depending on what type of deal you want to focus on. Start having the conversation sooner than later with potential investors. Get them excited about what your vision is, and get them excited about what the potential is for them to. I always say this, multifamily is a generational wealth building strategy, and then I got the next generation here, so.
That's right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, but it doesn't have to be multifamily. It can be anything. It could be, ground up development, any business model that you have. But the first question you ask yourself is that realization is, do I need to raise capital? Is raising capital going to help me? And you can really see it with, these large firms that pretty much run the world, the BlackRocks of the world, Blackstone of the world. Blackstone started as a real estate private equity firm. A private equity firm focused on doing their business through mergers and acquisitions and doing leverage buyouts. But now they have a larger allocation to real estate than they do to private equity. So the ability to really raise capital allows you and your company and your business model to go hyperbolic. So that's, if you haven't raised capital in the past, and I'm talking about raising capital from the members of the public, not you raise, from a family or a member or a cousin. When you're going to the members of the public and you're drafting a private placement memorandum and you're raising capital, that's when you really are in the next level, right? You're basically a general partner, you're a fund manager. So that should be the really dream. It doesn't matter what your business model is. It can go institutional, any business model. So that should be your dream and aspiration to be able to be there. So that's what I want. If I could motivate anyone tonight is to be able to kind of, look to the horizon and try to do bigger deals and raise some serious amount of equity.
Raising capital is the single most lucrative skill in this industry. And to kind of validate that, when you can bring the money to the deal, you're going to have more seats at more tables than you can count. Focus on underwriting or any of these other things that come with it. That's great skills to have. But when you're the one bringing the money to the deal, you can hire the best underwriters, you can hire people to call brokers, you can fill in the blank, right? This is why we love what we do. And really, if you're looking to pick what area of real estate you want to go hyperbolic with, I guess this, whatever, call it a sales pitch if you haven't committed to it yet. Just cannot endorse going the capital raising direction enough. From personal experience, right? It's really where we see a lot of 10x, 20x growth. So,
and the program that happens with is like amazing. You guys are incredible. I mean, 450, almost 500 people signed up already.
We're close, 500 is on the horizon. Yeah.
Amazing. So yeah, capital raising is the place to start. But just 1 second, August. I just wanted to make one point here. I will show you that. Wait first. When you can raise capital and people know that you can raise capital, I'm telling you right now, the deal flow that you're going to receive is just incredible. People will start coming to you from everywhere. Hey, I got this deal, I got that deal, and it just really gets the business going. So much so that I've had to tell the team, we're hyper-focused on multifamily, we're not looking at any other asset class, because there's so many shiny objects that are coming our way, and now we have to.
To simplify it, if you're great at raising capital, you got options. If you just got one deal, you just got that one deal, and you got to go out there and get money for it, right? You got to go find equity for your deal, but so.
Love that. So why don't we give some tips about raising private equity?
Yeah,
who wants to start?
Or tips, sure.
Tips, questions, but
whatever. Questions, yeah.
However you guys want to rock the show, we're here to serve you. And you know what? That'll be my first tip.
Okay.
Is service before self, right? And I don't know if we got any other Rotarians here. I'm in a Rotary Club. That's like the #1 motto, right? Know who you've been called to serve and serve them well. And I recently heard Tony Robbins say this too. He's like, throughout my career, I've fixed my mission statement and this and that. And he's like, you know what? After all of it, I've just realized it comes down to how can I help? Every day I wake up, how can I help? And I was listening to a Alex Rabosi podcast on the way here. If anyone doesn't know who that is, just look that guy up, Alex Hermosi. But he's like, whatever it is that you are quote unquote selling, like you have to believe in it, because otherwise you're being fake. And then that way, when you are able to talk to someone and maybe they say no to you, you feel a little bit of conviction because you know what you have can really help them, and you know that to the core. So however we can help everyone here get to that next level, whether it's 50%, 80%, or even just 1% in the right direction, we would love to do that with you here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would say one of those ways is basically maybe going through our funnel is a way to see what we do. So if somebody connects with us, they watch our YouTube show, they listen to our podcast, they connect, they see us speaking on stage. When they scan our QR code, that's always on my. I should have my wife on the.
We should have it on the projector, right?
So when you scan the QR code, you'll go through our funnel and you see the series of emails you get, and you see the nurture process we put you through, and that has worked for us over the years and helped us raise millions of dollars. You can see what that process is, what type of emails you get, what type of communications you get. You might even get a call from someone saying, hey, you've signed up to CPI Capital's information, I'd love to book a call with you with our investor relations team, and you can emulate those processes. So yeah, just that would be another way, really.
Yeah, definitely be a good, is it working?
So you gotta hold it down.
We're good? Definitely be a good copycatter. Do not try to reinvent the wheel by yourself. But I want to share with you guys my 5 pillars of how to raise capital from high net worth investors. My five pillars of success, because I think it'll be really helpful for you guys. So number 1, be the greatest salesperson. So you gotta sell people without them knowing that you're actually selling them. So great leaders do this, great politicians do this, even great lovers do this.
Is there such thing as a great politician?
I don't know. But to be the greatest salesperson, you really have to believe in the product that you're selling, right? So believe in it, people will feel that, and they'll want to invest right beside you. Number 2 is going to be communication. You have to be prompt with your communication when it comes to dealing with investors, whether they're looking to invest with you or whether they've already invested with you. Nobody wants to, potentially invest $100,000 with a GP or $50,000 or $10,000 with somebody where they can't get a hold of them. So you have to be accessible. All the time. All my investors have my personal cell phone number, my email. When an investor comes through our funnel, I always connect with them on LinkedIn, and they know I'm very accessible. Number 3 is exclusivity. Usually high net worth investors, they want a sense of security, a sense of status. They kind of want that sense of control. So you really have to make them feel like they're going to be part of an exclusive club almost. If you know us, you're going to have exclusive invites to dinners, events, and most importantly, the best private deals out there. Now with exclusivity, you also have to kind of create a sense of scarcity. So keep in mind when you're talking with investors, you have to say, hey, I have amazing deals that come up, but it's always first come, first serve. So you're very high on the list, but make sure that you create that scarcity on that initial call that you have with them. Number 4 is going to be consistency, and this is so important. You cannot just call an investor, have a great call with an investor for the first time, and then 6 months down the road, they don't hear from you. They're going to totally forget about you, okay? So you have to constantly be in front of them. We do this several ways. We're very active on social media, so if an investor logs into LinkedIn, they see us on LinkedIn. If they log into Facebook, there we are. Instagram, there we are. And you can do this by hiring a marketing team, not expensive, from the Philippines. You can get somebody, you can get really cool CRMs where you do one post and it blasts out to all your social media accounts. Research on ChatGPT how to make it super simplified so that it doesn't seem so overwhelming, but you gotta be in front of your investors. Every single Sunday at 6 a.m. EST, 3 a.m. PST, we send out an email. And we've been consistent for three years now. We have never missed an email. So investors know that email is coming in from us. August writes an incredible blog, and we've sent this out every single week. If you can't do weekly, do monthly. But still, make sure you're providing that free value to them consistently. The last one here is picking your audience. Okay, this is really, really important. Who's your avatar? Who are you speaking to? Every post you do on social media, you're going to want that post to talk to that particular person, to talk about their pain point, and so forth. So picking your audience is very important. I think Hunter Thompson in his book actually talks about this. He had a room full of 30 accredited investors, and he presented this deal to them. And at the end of it, he put a piece of paper, I believe, in front of every investor.
You got it.
Okay, here we go. He put a piece of paper and said, okay, everybody, write down the amount that you want to invest, and I appreciate your time. And he did this amazing presentation. I believe he practiced and practiced like.
It was like this standing room only.
Yeah.
And everybody had to be accredited to be there.
Everybody was accredited, high net worth investor, and he was so excited.
Dinner, everything.
Everything, yeah. He was so excited. He took the little thing with all the paper in it. He starts opening them up, and it was $0 that he raised. He had the wrong audience in front of him. So just remember that your time is valuable. You are amazing. You're great. Just make sure that you're presenting your deal to the right people.
And on the note of exclusivity, it's kind of like it's a dance, the way that you just laid it out there. And what I mean by that is you do want your investors to feel like they are number one. But at the same time, they do appreciate a little bit of being treated like everyone else. And what I mean by that is you're having, say, your first call with a potential investor. And for the record, I'm on the educational side of our company. The private equity side, we've raised tens of millions of dollars. This is really one hack that I've heard Hunter share with people over and over and over again. Whether you choose to implement it or not, it's up to you. But when you have that call with your potential investor, hey, Jim, Hunter with esteemed Capital, is now a good time? Yes, okay. Just so you know, I have another call right after this, in 28 minutes or whatever, fill in the blank. So it's okay if you'd like to jump right in. Being able to do that up front, set the tone and control the conversation, and then also let them know you have another call just like that coming up, even if you don't. And ending it when you said you would end it, consistently doing that will work wonders for your business, even if you're not, I don't know if you got anyone who's not in real estate here, but you're just in the world of building a business. Being able to do that is super, super helpful, and it will move the needle forward for you.
That's a good one, Adam. That's a really good one. Great advice. And if you don't do that, they'll spend 2 hours on the call with you.
Yeah, and you never know. Or you might rent. Yeah, exactly.
Let's maybe go for some
Yeah,
questions.
please. Absolutely.
Who's got questions? Don't be shy.
Hey.
Oh, easy one.
It's gonna hold it, and then you'll see the light.
It's like a 3-second hold, and it lights up.
All right, I'll just speak loudly if you can hear me. So you built up some suspense. What is the CRM you use? And the second question is, when you were first getting started, you didn't have that experience or a deal, sounds like. How did you keep your potential investors engaged and interested for a full year?
Very good question. So we use HubSpot. HubSpot is an incredible CRM. It's you can do a lot with it. Be careful with HubSpot because they have all these really cool free features, and they'll be like, oh, okay, it's an extra $200 a month for this feature or that feature. So be a little bit careful with HubSpot. I think you can get up to 2,000 people for free, and then they start charging you. So look into that. Another really good one is Active Campaign.
Most syndicators use
Active Campaign. How about you guys?
Yeah, Active Campaign is definitely our go-to. However, we've seen with success with HubSpot, MailChimp, Go High Level is really popular right now. But if I had to recommend one, I would go Active Campaign.
Nice, nice. And on to your second question, the first year that we were keeping investors excited by nurturing them through the free information that we were giving them. We were pretty much teaching them all about real estate private equity. So if you go to cpicapital.ca and you go to our blog, you'll see all the blogs that August has written. And people really like to learn. Warren Buffett says, never invest in a business that you don't understand. So that was one. I had another point I was going to say, but I have baby brain, so let me think about it for a second.
You just reminded me of one thing as well, which is as capital raisers, we think that our investors want to hear, again, the specifics of the deal. Fill in the blank with whatever, as I mentioned earlier, IRR, whatever it is. What they really are investing in at the end of the day is you. And I guess I'll do a quick plug here, and if you can track me down, or I'd say add me on LinkedIn too, I'll get this to you. I have a podcast, and I recently did an episode on what is how to know what to post if you are creating content, because that is a tough one. You sit there sometimes like, all right, well, what do I do? What do I make now? There's a way to inspire investors, and obviously we cover this in the material we teach as well, but getting people to invest in you as a person. and really knowing, hey, you know, August likes to go skiing, and all these other little things, you got a little one on the way, that type of stuff is really, we don't see it, but those are the little things that get people to really invest in you and move forward with you.
Good point.
You like to ski?
I remember.
You skier?
He does ski.
There you go.
You've seen it on, you must have seen his posts on LinkedIn.
Yeah, see,
It just came back to me. Believe it or not, a lot of investors, sometimes, in some cases, will follow you for a year and a half, 2 years, 2.5 years before they actually pull the trigger. So they are, like Adam said, they're really trying to get to know you. It's unbelievable when we have an investor invest money with us, and we're like, oh my God, because we can see in our CRM when they signed up. We're like, these guys have been following us for 2 years now, and they just pulled the trigger. So to be honest with you, people, a year is not that long. People have their careers, they have their children, time flies, right? So just, that's what I
So
would say.
actually, it's funny you mentioned that. A story, again, I don't know if this will be recorded, Hunter, if you ever watch this, I'm sure you're loving the shout-outs right now. But he tells a story about how someone who was in that room were a complete goose egg, didn't know one invested. This was maybe a couple years ago now, but you know, about a 10-year gap. They call him out of nowhere, invest $200,000. 3 months go by and invest another $300,000. So almost a decade of sitting on that list, never even responding, engaging, and boom, all of a sudden it shows up. So really being able to nurture your list is what it boils down to.
That's incredible. It's like a snowball effect. I promise you, do not give up on yourself. You'll be like, this is so frustrating. Nobody's signing up, nobody's investing. And it's like boom, 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 boom. And you're like, oh my God, this is finally paying off.
Yeah, and this all starts because an investor has 2 questions when they first meet you. One, is this guy or gal gonna rip me off? And is this guy or gal competent enough to do what they're supposed to do with my money? So they're concerned, they're worried. In the private equity space, you know, the investor signs a 100-page document that says that they have no say. Their money is, their investment is illiquid. And we, as the general partner, make all the decisions. We decide when to divest, we decide how much to spend on the CapEx budget, so they lose control, right? There's really no control there, so there needs to be a lot of trust for somebody to take that step and invest with you. And then you also have a lot of, you know, unscrupulous players out there, and that's what they see in the media, people ripping people off. So the trust is a very important part of our business, and to gain that trust, to be in front of their face everywhere you are and adding value to them by different ways, that's how you gain that trust. So somebody comes down the road and a year later invests with you. Let's get some more questions. A question I have for the audience: has anyone ever syndicated a deal here? And what I mean, not a joint venture, like somebody's gone and prepared a PPM and actually raised money from members of the public?
A few, yeah.
Which one?
And mine had nothing to do with real estate. It was years ago before I got into real estate.
Okay, right on. And the strategies that we talked about today does not have to be, again, what you already said, I believe, it does not have to be for a big real estate deal. It can be for single-family home development. If you want to do some smaller.
We have a client who's raising capital for nightclubs.
Nice.
So I don't know who wants to party after this, but you know, come find me.
Anything could be syndicated. You can bring on a joint venture partner for any deal, right? It's just have to have the right deal, right business plan, and you can bring your partners. Let's get some more questions going.
I'm just curious, how big of a deal would it have to be? Because I know that when it comes to investing, that you want to do 100 plus for a syndication. Is that correct, or?
The 100 plus reason is because our firm looks for institutional multifamily deals, and that's because the economies of scale that exist there, we can bring third-party property manager. But as far as being able to syndicate a deal, be it, the number of doors don't really matter. Like you could syndicate a 50-unit apartment community. It really matters on how big is the deal, how large is the deal, and is it worth it to go through the process and hire the securities lawyer and have, put everything together and do the investor relations over the years that you hold the property. Is it really worth it? So the price point is really got to be in the millions, but there's no real door count. You could syndicate a 20-unit townhome, for example. So
I guess it all depends on what you're doing with it, or
yeah,
how much money is going to take.
Exactly. It depends what the business plan is an important part, but the size also matters, right? If is it warranted to then go ahead and syndicate a deal? You could buy a fourplex with a couple of joint JV partners, right? But if you're buying a $20 million property and that's an $8 million equity raise, it makes more sense to syndicate it and bring a bunch of investors to come in at different amounts of checks to be able to fund the equity for the deal.
So an 8-unit boutique hotel, something like that work?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Works, yes, absolutely.
I gotta put my shoes on sports mode.
Thank you. And, I apologize if you already answered a question like this, but I'm curious about how you reevaluate the qualification process for prospects. So what metrics do you use to decide when you need to reevaluate, or is that more of like a cyclical thing? I'm curious.
And this is, so there's two ways we evaluate, I mean, there's multiple ways we evaluate our potential investors. We do it through accredited, non-accredited, because securities compliance oversees us, and they, depending on the category of the exemption we're using to raise capital, it restricts us to either accredited or non-accredited. So that's one of the first vetting process that they go through when they come through our funnel. But then there's also about their current liquidity. They could be accredited, but they might not be liquid right now. It could be about their interest and knowledge about real estate, because this is really a marriage. We're going to be in business with them, from 3 to 7 years in most cases. So do we want to go in business with them? So we can go over this list of questions that you asked.
I think, that's an important thing to pay attention there to being accredited. You can raise capital from non-accredited investors, and we have members and clients that do that. Just from seeing what works and what doesn't work over and over and over again, it can be a real headache over time working with non-accredited investors, even what can be called a sophisticated investor, so maybe someone who knows what they're doing, but still, if they're not accredited, you're putting yourself in a position where you also have to probably educate a little bit more than you would like to, and you need to be focused on your craft. And you know what, if accredited investors is the direction you want to go, then make that your focus. But we really are big on $50,000 minimum investment, and making sure that they're accredited. You qualify that. I mean, there's some simple ones, and you guys will probably help me out on this. But it's if it's a husband and wife, it's a $300,000 a year.
$300,000 a year
household income or $1 million net worth.
Excluding their primary
excluding primary residence, yeah.
Or 200,000 income by yourself.
And there's some crazy number, like 13 million Americans don't even know they're accredited or something like that. So it really is a blue ocean. Sometimes it might seem like you're competing with others, but also just look at the Fed in the past, however many couple of years, they've been printed trillions of dollars. So there's a lot of capital slushing around out there looking for yield. And I guess what I'm trying to say is there's plenty of accredited investors to go around, even if it doesn't feel like it right away.
Yeah, most accredited investors are very busy professionals, and a lot of them actually don't know that you can invest passively in real estate.
They've been sold the Wall Street lie.
Totally. They're passively invest in real estate. How does that work? And I was totally mind-boggled, honestly, when we first started talking about it. And people are like, wow, this is incredible. So I want to get out of the stock market.
Those are for investors who didn't know about it. But the first question we ask our investors when they get on a call with our investor relations team is, have you ever invested as an LP before? That really gauges where they're at. If they're invested as an LP, they're pretty sophisticated, they've done this before. If they have never, then we know there's an education process there. So that's the first vetting question we ask when after they come through our funnel and our process.
Can you talk a little bit about investor returns, how you determine the investor returns? Is it per project, is it a fund? What's fair for the investors, et cetera, stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to take it on this?
Is there any SEC?
Is there any SEC?
Great question. Yep.
So this is just forecasted, right? So we always, we're a syndication group where we don't have a fund. So we're project specific. So every project has its own returns. But typically we like to give our investors something called a preferred return. We usually give them a 7 to 9% preferred return. We do monthly distributions at CPI Capital, so we love, again, consistency. We love them to see us in their bank account every single month. And then before the interest rates hiked astronomically, obviously returns are a little bit higher. We were looking at maybe 20 to 23% average annualized returns. That's over a 5-year period. And now we're looking at around 15 to 18% average annualized returns. Again, this is all forecasted. Every time we have a new deal, we have a live webinar, all the investors come on, the whole team comes on, presents the deal, and we really go through the return summary and everything else like that. But it varies.
Yeah, I mean, as far as if an investor is taking a risk to go into the exempt market where we're at, into the alternative investment world, it has to make sense, right? Right now they can buy bonds at 5% and it's guaranteed, right? Is it worth to take the risk at 15%? So we don't look at deals if our average annualized return is less than 15%, and that's what a lot of large institutions are currently penciled down mode. So they're not looking at deals because the interest rate is so high. There's a price discovery between buyers and sellers, so the deals are not yielding enough, returns for them to get involved.
But if you're an investor, line up, because we are already starting to see distressed properties, which is really, really exciting, because we've been sitting on the sidelines for a little while because there's so much turbulence in the market. But gosh, I'm telling you, there's going to be some great deals. So go out, if you are looking to passively invest, go out, start building that trust with at least 3 sponsors, and watch the deal flow, because there's going to be some incredible money to be made over the next, I'd say, couple of years here.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to touch on a couple of things you mentioned as well as far as returns. You started out with talking about preferred returns. Just want to break that down. How many people know what preferred returns are? By show of hands. Okay, so decent amount. Preferred returns are basically a coupon, right? It's your insurance policy with the partnership you have with a general partner, with a sponsor who's putting the deal together. So preferred returns basically say that you get this set coupon, be it 6%, 7%, 8% every year. So you have to receive that cumulative return before the general partner gets their piece of the capital gains made on the back end. So if it's a 70-30 split, before they get their hands on that 30%, that's their portion of the profit, you have to have made that 7% coupon per year. So anytime you want to look at a private equity real estate investment, make sure there is preferred returns provided. If you're looking to put a deal together, preferred returns are a way to bring on sophisticated real estate investors who always look for preferred returns. And then we talked about also distributions, so that's cash on cash. So it depends on a deal. Is your deal producing cash on cash return day one? A lot of development deals, for example, don't produce any cash flow, right? Because they're under construction. So multifamily value added does.
The reason it does is because when we're buying a project, it's already cash flowing from day one. So there's a bunch of people renting in the units, obviously. And from the rents we collect, after we pay all of our expenses and everything else, and third-party property manager, we still have enough surplus left over to give our investors cash flow. And the cash flow actually starts growing year over year, because obviously, look at us as like fix and flippers, but on a very large scale. As we're renovating the units, obviously, there's more cash flow that comes in, and then we can give our investors higher cash on cash returns as the risk.
Absolutely, and those average annualized returns are a combination of the capital gains, the profits made at time of divestment, and the cash flow. So both of them combined come up to that, 15 to 20% average annualized returns.
I know I saw a few more hands go up there too. I know you did one. As you're getting the mic over, I do have a question for you guys, because I've seen this happen pretty often as well. You're always, not always, but you will face objections with potential investors. And being from Canada, I know a lot of Canadian investors, they look at the returns from US real estate and instantly go, it's gotta be a scam, right? So those numbers,
too good to be true.
Right. So also, I mean, how have you guys learned to navigate the objections of the numbers being too good?
Yeah, that's really a good question. That was our biggest pain point when we first started, because Canadians, they're amazing. I'm third generation Canadian. But Canadians are very happy with like a 5 to 7% average annualized return, right? They're like, this is amazing. And when we come to the door and say, no, our deals, like we've presented several deals now, and they're like, well, please, there's no way you're getting 15 plus average annualized returns. And really the numbers just, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, if you go through all the underwriting and everything like that, and we start educating them on how exactly it works, then they start really kind of understanding how to analyze these deals and how it's all making sense. Of course, in Canada, cap rates are compressed.
So education.
Education, and also being more conservative on our underwriting. So, that's how we mitigated the issue, because we felt like, we're going to be a little more conservative. So, we advertise lower returns to the Canadian investors, and you know.
Yeah, we're too conservative sometimes, investors call us out. Like, this looks a little too conservative. But it's always better to underpromise and obviously overdeliver. We've heard that many times before.
Awesome. So, got a question about the SEC attorney. Can you talk about like the interaction when you bring them in? What does that cost look like to bring them in? Do you have to do something with them? Every single deal is completely different. Just like overall, high level, what that interaction looks like and how much a headache it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say that connect with the SEC attorney as soon as you can. There's some great ones out there. We have an attorney here. I'm not sure if she's a SEC or attorney or syndication. Okay, yeah. So yeah, definitely connect with one. You get a 3-hour-long call, anyways. You can learn lots on that call. And keep in mind, you need to draft offering documents for each deal you have if you're doing a syndication model. You could do a fund model where you can build your fund and you can continuously raise capital per your initial offering documents. But on a syndication deal, and that's why our friend had a question about what is a deal size that's worth to syndicate. Because of those upfront costs, it really makes sense to because it really makes sense to do a larger deal. But yeah, connect with an SEC attorney. There's some great ones out there. There's a lot of them that do a lot of podcasts and YouTube shows. That we have some great ones that have been on our podcast and YouTube show. And connect with them. Get that 3-hour-long call. Understand the process. The cost is actually, compared to Canada, the cost is much cheaper here in the U.S. You can get it for a nominal amount. I think something between $10,000 and $20,000 to do all your offering docs, your PPM, everything you need on the securities compliance side of things. So it's very reasonable, especially if you're doing a $10, $20, $30 million deal to pay $10,000 to $20,000 for your legal. It's very reasonable.
Yeah, we didn't make it too easy on ourselves being from Canada because we had to deal with attorneys on both sides of the border and different rules and regulations for raising capital and everything else. So the cost was really double for us. But if anybody here knows any Canadians, get them in touch with us. We've created a pretty cool structure for Canadians to get their hands on U.S. real estate.
Yeah, and I'll do just a plug here too. One of the biggest things that attracts people to our mastermind is one of our members is the exact same attorney that we work with on all of our deals in the private equity side of the company. And not only that, but he's drafted legal templates, the exact same templates that we use for all of our deals. When you become a member of Raise Masters, you get access to our entire legal treasure chest. And to your point, it could be anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000, depends on what you're looking to accomplish. But we always like to say, leveraging the templates, you can't copy paste it. If you don't know that, you'll find that out pretty quickly. But we always say, it's about 80 to 90% saved up front, not having to draft templates from scratch. So come talk to me. I'll get you in touch with the attorney. I'm not an attorney.
Thank you.
You guys ready for another question?
Absolutely.
Okay. So on the properties, well, I got 2 questions. First, do you guys sell?
I think he's got it might be off. Hold down that. Oh, it's on. Okay, all right, good.
So do you guys sell the properties after 3 to 5 years after holding?
Said 3 to 7.
That's right, 3 to 7. Depends. We're opportunistic, right? Market opportunistic. So if the market has gone, hyperbolic, then we exit it sooner. If the market has slowed down as general partner, we want the best for our investors, so we keep it longer. We're not going to sell it in a slow market.
Gotcha. Okay, and this is a personal question for me. I'm in a multifamily right now that I purchased. I purchased at FHA. And I'm trying to...
How many units?
I know, it's 2 units.
Awesome, okay.
FHA goes maximum to 4, I believe.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, maximum 4. Yeah. The prices went up before I could buy, but I took what I could get in Ybor City. So, but anyway, I was thinking the next property should be an 8 unit, but I was advised by somebody that it would be a bad idea because I would be stuck for 3 to 5 years in the smaller unit when I can just save up my money and invest with a group, and then I can keep investing that way. I just wanted to get some advice.
As far as investing passively in real estate versus actively, I think the best advice there is having a well-diversified portfolio. We know a lot of general partners that have come on our podcast and they invest passively, but if you've already invested as an active investor, you already own duplex, 2-unit, to go then, build your way up to 8-unit. All the power to you. I think that's what you should definitely do. At some point, when you have extra cash laying around and you want to invest with a GP, 50K here, 100K there, sure, do that and cherry pick the best GP out there to invest with.
Yeah, and like, what's your vision? Do you have the vision of being an active investor, or do you want to be like totally hands off and have time freedom?
She's ready to sit.
So I've seen an active investor just, like really suffer. Well, I mean, because he has to do everything himself. He has to run like 30 units right now, and I see it take a toll on him. So I'm thinking I don't want to go through the same thing that he's going through. So maybe a different route would probably be, I guess, wise.
I think, like Greg said, and we've emphasized this a lot here, finding a mentor can really be the key, I think, for you. And there's someone I know who's one of our success stories, testimonials. He started 2022 with his goal to purchase a duplex, and by the end of the year, I think he finished with about 72 doors under management, and he just keeps going up and to the right. Brian Escudero, my man, I know you're out there somewhere. And actually, he lives in Miami, but the units he acquired are here in Tampa. So I'd be happy to connect you with Brian, buddy. I'll connect you with someone.
Thank you.
Yep.
And keep in mind, as you scale and get to those larger units, you can always bring on a property manager or somebody else to kind of do the day-to-day management. You can oversee them. So that's another route that you can take.
I'm a GP with Brian on that deal in Tampa, the 40 unit.
Let's go. Yes.
Go, Brian.
Awesome. What's your name?
Samantha Jones.
Okay, I'm telling him about Sam Jones.
Connect, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, let's get some more questions.
I think we're going right there.
All right. So this question is about real estate as it relates to blockchain technology. I was wondering if you guys can speak on the tokenization of real estate and how that might change the way we syndicate deals and raise capital.
Yeah, interesting enough. All those CPI Capital deals are tokenized and they're available on a secondary market. So
I didn't know you guys did that.
Yeah. So but having said that, what the tokenization has allowed really is for this illiquid investment to be tokenized and then be available on a secondary market to be then sold and it creates liquidity in a historically illiquid environment. But that's a mouthful. So when you talk to that doctor, that lawyer, that accountant who wants to invest with you, and you talk about the tokenization, the first two questions: am I going to get ripped off? Is this guy competent enough to take care of my deals? They get worried right away and they don't understand it, so they're gonna say no in investing with you just because you brought it up. So even though that our deals, we felt like light years ahead of the market, it actually worked counterproductive for us when we were talking about tokenization because people right away talk about crypto and we scared off some investors.
At this time, right, it's not quite there yet. It could be the future of real estate for sure. But at this time, definitely being on calls with investors saying, hey, we can tokenize your shares. And like, what does that even mean? And then all of our investors we gave them a digital wallet. Nice. A lot of them didn't even really know how to use it.
Really good move.
It's really, really cool, yeah. But a lot of them didn't even really know how to use it. And they're like, you know what I mean? So just, it's the future of real estate.
It's hard to predict when it will go mainstream, but I think you think everything, for the most part, is going to become digitized at some point, whether we like it or not. So that's a good future move I didn't know you guys made. Check this one out, blockchainrealestatesummit.com. Blockchainrealestatesummit.com. The creator of that, Michael Flight, is actually the godfather of my son. Really good friend of mine, and I'll be speaking at that. It's completely virtual. Blockchainrealestatesummit.com has a lot of information coming, specifically on the tokenization of real estate.
When is that?
I'll have to connect you guys.
For sure.
Yeah.
When is that?
The 26th through the 28th, and I'll be speaking on the 27th.
August?
Of September, so you got some time. Yeah. We got August right here.
So anyone excited that they want to now go and do their own syndication? Anyone has deals out there that need equity for? Yeah.
See a show of hands. Okay, nice.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. What kind of deals? Let's hear it.
I have a 176 unit in Chicago. It's under PSA. We're looking to raise 10 million.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Value add?
It is a value add. It's also a telecom interest on it as well.
Nice, nice.
How about you?
90 units in Temple Terrace, Tampa.
Oh, congratulations. Value add as well?
Huh?
Did value add as well?
Negative. Yes, value added.
Okay, right on. Exciting stuff. Hey, we got some bigger
Yeah,
deals happening.
make friends with Samantha Jones. Yeah, there you go.
I have two quick questions for you guys. First, we just explain for a lot of the members, maybe newer, kind of, first couple years, explain the difference between a 506B, 506C. Maybe touch on a Reg A, but go through that, and then I have a question from a management perspective, but maybe give them kind of context to what the differences are.
Sure. I'll make it easy for you guys to remember. So 506B, B stands for brother. No, it doesn't, but it's a good way of remembering it. So if you're using the 506B, you can raise capital from accredited and non-accredited investors, but you have to have a pre-existing relationship with the non-accredited investors that you raise capital from. And I think it caps you at 35 investors, I believe, the 506B.
Yes.
And also, 506B limits you on advertising, so you cannot market the deal on social media, on Facebook and what have you, because the concept here is that there needs to be pre-existing relationship, so you can't go, there shouldn't be a need for you to advertise it if you have to know all the investors.
I should know this is 30 or 60 days for the cool down period. You have to know if you're,
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's an actual date set in stone, but it might be.
It's 30 or 60 days. You can Google it, probably find out right away. But you have that pre-existing relationship. You can't talk to them today. And
just quickly on the 506C. 506C basically is carte blanche. You can only raise from accredited investors, but you can advertise. You don't have any maximum numbers. You don't have any minimum investment amount, so you can raise from anyone. But you have a question about management. We have a question here as well. So
So most of the stuff we manage in like sub 50 units, we haven't really dabbled in a lot of the on-site stuff. So like if myself was looking to get into 100 plus units from the management perspective, what are some of your your biggest pain points when dealing with the management companies? And there's probably a few, but maybe give me some of the hot topics where this is where we really felt like this management company that really understood the plan. And I think with the larger assets, you're probably bringing them more this is the management plan we want you to execute. This is the operations manual for how we want you to run this property. And we don't see that a lot with smaller investors, giving us a real plan to go off of. There's the renewals and some of that stuff, but what are some of the pain points that you're seeing? So other investors, if they're hiring management as well, these are the things that we really thought could have been better, or that we really learned from maybe a recent deal that you guys did.
Yeah, the property management, you got to keep in mind you're going to have your regional, and you got to have the property manager on site on the building as well. So there's so many different layers that you have to that you go through when you hire a property management firm. But for us, again, because we're in that early stage of the company, we haven't been around for a long time. We're trying to deal with property managers who've been there for a long time. The cost is a bit more, but we get that peace of mind that we don't have to go be babysitting them and micromanaging them. So the brand is what wins there. And my advice to you is go and poach their regional, go and poach their property manager and bring them on, because they'll have all the circuits of the trade, and they'll actually help you build and grow your company.
And actually, I want to make sure I get this right. I know we keep talking about mentors. There's someone in our group as well she's just crushed it in the world of raising capital, and she has a course and mentorship for asset management, aceoperators.com. Aceoperators.com, that's Sandy Sadri. She knows her stuff.
I was just gonna say, is it illegal to show a deal to somebody that's not already in your relationship, like your investor you already have a relationship with?
Well, it really depends, right? So when you say deal is very broad. If you're trying to buy a short-term rental
for multifamily.
For multifamily, for a larger deal where so it depends what exemption you're using to raise capital. So if you're using the 506C, then all your investors have to be accredited. If you're using the 506B and you want to show that investor that deal to an individual, if you're showing it to them, that means you already have a pre-existing relationship with them, right? So, but again, get advice of a securities attorney. The security attorney we use his name is Dugan Kelly, and he's He's tremendous. He's very easily to be found online. He's been on our podcast.
Yeah, he's incredible. But yeah, 506B, you're usually just sending it out to the database that you already have, or you already know.
Love the question.
As opposed to syndication, because most of the people here are wholesalers or they deal with single family, would you recommend a GPLP structure, and when would you? Because I think some of these people maybe feel as though attorney fees and syndication fees could be a barrier to what you're a proponent of. And then also I'm wondering about your waterfall, if you can carry it further. Aside from the preferred return, with the profits, what do you typically take and then give to investors? And do you do an equity share?
Great question. So, as far as what should be the trigger when you go from a JV to a GPLP structure, you got to keep in mind, as soon as you utilize a GPLP structure, you're triggering securities compliance, right? So you're going to be on your case. You have to prepare offering docs and what have you. So really, the deal constitutes if it's worth going to GPLP structure or a joint venture. So the advice is definitely do a JV. Define that within your LLC of what managing members are, what other members are. So smaller deals really just need a LLC and a joint venture really with different members. But as soon as you're raising capital from a larger group of people, raising capital from members of the public, that's where you want to be in a GPLP structure. And on your second question, as far as secondary hurdles, our firm, we do have secondary hurdles. So as soon as we hit again, it's a dynamic situation right now. It's a fluid situation with interest rates and where the yields are going. But at some point, we put a secondary hurdle. So what that means is if an investor has hit, let's say, 15% IRR, anything above that, the profit share, instead of being 70-30, it's now 50-50. So it's a bigger incentive for us to make sure that the deal performs better.
And that's 70% goes to the investors, and then we as GPs keep 30%.
And I'm sure you guys have some content on that as well somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the blog. Our blog on our website, cpacapital.ca. Go to the blog and
I just do Command F and then type in like preferred return.
No, you're getting real sophisticated right
Yeah. Sure. My question was, what would be your suggested first 3 steps to start capital?
506C?
No, just if you were to try to find investors, what would be to get started?
To get started,
to get started, you got to build a brand around yourself and your company, right? People got to know you exist. If they Google you, hopefully you won't have a generic name. We don't, but you want to be found out there, right? You want to exist out there. So trying to get some attention on yourself, trying to create your own podcast, be active on LinkedIn, be active on social media, create some sort of content that people want to subscribe to you, and then have that nurture process. So having a CRM, creating those monthly or weekly emails so you're always on top of their mind. Ava talked about monthly distributions that we do, and that's more psychological. It's more work for us, but every month we want to see the investor getting those distributions in their bank account.
Definitely building a brand is the most important thing, because by the time the investor connects with you on a call, they already trust you when you build a brand. So you really kind of get over that hurdle, and they're almost ready to make the investment right away, right? So it's just building that trust, because by the time that they get on a call with you, they're like, oh my God, I heard you speak on this podcast. Oh, thanks for sending out the blogs. Oh, I heard you speak over there. Oh, I've seen you over there. And they kind of feel like they know you already. So instead of just having a call with somebody who's just meeting you for the first time, you kind of take 10 steps forward. So that would probably be the biggest thing.
That's it's such a simple question, but it's like probably the best one. Yeah, no offense to anyone else. Well done. Number one, exactly what Ava and August are saying. And I just realized your son's name is Atlas. You guys straight A's over there. That's good.
18.
18. Deciding what your niche is, who your focus is, your dream investor, client, avatar. These are all terms that we hear. And that, as an example, that could be doctors, could be attorneys, could be. You don't have to get that granular. We had someone once who's like, I'm gonna focus on like military moms. To be honest, that's like that I would say that I think many would agree in our group, like it's a little bit too niche, but like military, you can start with military, right? If you want to go kind of hyper niche, one thing we've seen be successful is we have a few pilots in our group. So focusing, okay, all my messaging is for high-income pilots. What ends up happening is Tate DBREIA is my buddy who I'm thinking of right here, who that's his niche, that's his focus. You guys, I'm sure you know Tate, he's the man. He's been on our podcast. Probably less than 20% of his clients are actually pilots, right? So you stick your flag in the ground of where you want to go. Number two is pick your lane. So we look at raising capital and we look at the success you guys have had, or even someone, just use an example like Grant Cardone. Okay, Grant's on every platform, but he's on every platform because he's at that level. If you're just getting started, focus on LinkedIn, or focus on Facebook groups, or focus on Instagram. And yes, you can raise capital through Instagram. We have some really powerful strategies on that that have worked really well. But find your niche, pick your lane. Number three, create, right? Create the content and don't stop. Alex Ramosi talks about building your oil rig, and when you have enough content out there, I'm going to mess up the metaphor here, but something had to do with drilling for oil, right? Just the more oil rigs you have out there, each piece of content is drilling for oil for you. You never know which one's going to go viral. I'm sure you guys have experienced that, or the one episode that had two views, and that's the one where they called you. So just building those oil rigs, and then secret fourth step, come talk to me and become a race master.
Yeah, that's right. We call it fishing rods, right? Put them in the fishing rods out there. If you guys want, if you guys are looking to, it's very difficult getting started with behind platforms, so really good advice. If you guys want to have an amazing marketing team, just get in touch with me and I can hook you up with them. Again, they're very affordable and they make your life super easy. Everybody thinks I'm always on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all that. I'm not. I don't have time. And it just, you know what I mean? It just definitely streamlines everything.
Filipinos are great. It's true.
They're amazing.
You'd be surprised. I mean, we have 3 employees on our team from the Philippines. First of all, you would never even think that they were there. And what I mean by that is there's a stigma that the work quality isn't as good. You can find some killers out there on onlinejobs.ph, to be specific. Onlinejobs.ph is where we found all of ours, and we just we can't sing that service enough praise.
Upworks, Fiverr.
Oh, and those are great resources as well. Yep.
Absolutely. And know your audience. Remember that one.
You have a question back there?
Yes, this question is for Sir Adam.
Hello.
All right. You had mentioned earlier about Instagram. I was wondering if maybe you can share 1 or 2 strategies or funnels that you guys are absolutely crushing it with right now.
Yeah, I'll use a success story that just happened. I mean, see if I can pull it up here. We're talking within the past week. So we have a relationship with we'll just go ahead and call her a marketing coach. And I would recommend everyone here, I'll give you a free pointer. Look up Janae Rose, Jenay Rose. She's a really good friend of Hunter's. They've known each other their whole life. And she put together some scripts, strategies, just everything from A to Z as far as how to attract investors through Instagram, specifically created for our group. We have a member who has literally 400 followers on Instagram, and it's called the tiny audience strategy. You don't have to have 400,000. You can do this with less than 1,000 followers. He had a call with an investor last week. Now, it was a soft commit, and I don't know if anyone here knows the difference between soft commit and hard. Soft means like they said they're going to invest, hard means it's in the bank. Right, but he had a $200,000 soft commit come through from following the Instagram strategies that we provided at Race Masters, and that's just one of several that have been able to have success doing it. And we also did start implementing that on the private equity side of our company. I'd have to get back to you specifically on how that's done for us, but I know it's done very well, and Hunter's very, very proud of it. So Instagram works, and there's another guy named Evan Holiday, who was a guest speaker of ours. He's in development, I think in Nashville, but Evan Holiday is a good person to follow too as far as attracting investors through Instagram. Nice hat.
All right, great.
keep going. Actually, you know what? I do have some stuff here. Key momentum indicators. We always hear about KPIs, key performance indicators, but this is one we did a virtual summit about a month ago. Did you guys get to come to that? Did you come to Money Momentum by chance?
Oh, we did.
You did? Oh, sweet. Actually, I think I saw you. Yeah, I saw you in the virtual audience.
On Facebook,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh, you guys had the DJ and everything.
Oh, we don't play around.
It was really good. Yeah, it was
Thank
really
you.
good.
I'll just keep dropping plugs here. I think it's zoomdjs.com. If you want to like rock something virtual, that's who we use, zoomdjs.com.
It really brings the energy up, definitely.
Yeah, sit in front of a computer, get everyone standing up, it's awesome. But Hunter, and I've been working with him for 6 years now. It's the first time I ever heard him present on key momentum indicators. And these are very simple. I've got 5 of them here, you can write them down. But these are really the metrics that you can use to decide, one, whether or not you're going to be successful, and whether or not the people that you hire and work with are going to help get your company to the next level. And if they don't check the box on all 5 of these, then you probably need to have a serious conversation either with yourself or with whoever you're looking to bring onto your team. So number 1 key momentum indicator is sense of urgency. So as an example, I mean, everyone here got dumped with information here tonight. Being able to take action on something you learned here tomorrow or even right now, I mean, that's number 1, sense of urgency. Number 2, speed of execution. So not just going to the website or talking to the person, but actually executing on what you learned as quickly as possible. Number 3, attention to detail. Don't know if you can really explain that detail beyond just saying it. I think everyone here is on the same page, right? Attention to detail, read between the lines, and just getting, as I mentioned, getting things done. Number 4, eagerness to serve others, which that's how we kicked it off, right? We're here to serve you guys tonight. So you have to have eagerness to do it, though. You really, as Zig Ziglar says, if you help enough people get to where they want to go, eventually you're going to find yourself right on the way to where you want to go. And number 5, a winner. You got to work with winners. You got to, as Herm Edwards said, I don't know who knows who that is, NFL player, coach. He has a famous press conference where after they lost, I don't know what the question was, but he's like, hello, you play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. You play to win. And if you're not playing to win, get out. Retire. Because it matters. We got, who knows, this might be the last moment we have all in our lives right here. Hope not, right? But like, you want to make the most of every single second that you have, and you might as well be playing to win, because why else not? So you want to find what you want to be a winner. You want to find winners, take everyone to the next level. Happy day.
All right, this question is for Ava, but I guess everybody can chime in. You had mentioned that you feel in the next year or so that there'll be some opportunities, or I guess maybe the next couple of years. Could you maybe explain why you feel that way, what you're seeing in the market currently, and maybe touch on where you think the opportunities will be?
Absolutely. So we have a hyper focus on the Florida market in Jacksonville and Tampa. But over the last couple years, probably starting in, I'm not too sure, maybe 2019, 2020, a lot of syndicators were buying these large institutional deals, and they were getting very high leverage. Interest rates went up, 11 times now? So as they went up really a lot, what ended up happening is it was eating up their cash flows. A lot of syndicators didn't have a large cash reserves. Maybe they were possibly newer, they didn't manage the properties the way that they should have been managed. And now we're seeing that there's a lot of syndicators who are in a lot of trouble right now. To the point where they're doing something called a capital call. So they're going to their current investors that already invested with them and saying, hey, we're in a little bit of distress here, we've run out of money, I need you guys to insert more capital into the deal. And in some cases, syndicators are far past that, right? And August can chime in here.
Well, it's not just syndicators, it's institutions as well. You guys heard the news about Blackstone giving the keys for their office space in Las Vegas, I believe. So yeah, there's definitely distress in the market, in both Jacksonville and Tampa. We also see it in other markets. I mean, there's, it's like a perfect storm, right? You got interest rates that have been increased, 10 consecutive time and then one pause and another time. That, people were hoping that the interest rates would be decreased this year, but that's not going to happen. They're going to keep it where they are until next year. So it's definitely creating some distress into the market. You also have insurance costs that have gone up astronomically here in Florida and Texas as well. So a lot of sponsors and investors are dealing with that. And you're seeing the expansion of cap rates. So, we see a lot of big groups, big institutions that all over LinkedIn, we're seeing that they're in trouble, basically, that they had interest rate cap, basically that insurance policy under interest rate, and that has it basically has hit the strike mark, but now the term is expiring, so they have to renew their loan, and now at this higher loan, it's going to erode away all their cash flows, and they're going to be in a negative situation. So there's definitely going to be deals out there,
we're starting to see deals that were maybe 30 million 6 months ago coming on the market for 23 million. And in some cases, we're having some deals come across our desk where people are just wanting to get the loan amount for the property.
Yeah,
so when I say good deals coming up, there's significant.
There's probably, this is GFC 2.0, so there's going to be some tremendous deals. But I don't know if we're going to go into a full-blown recession because the job numbers are so strong right now. The economy is still doing pretty well, but overall there's definitely going to be distress, particularly in groups that syndicated deals and they were highly leveraged. So we're seeing a lot of great deals coming our way.
A lot of syndicators went hyperbolic in the last couple of years. Okay, they bought and they bought and they bought and they bought. So they don't just have one deal in distress, they have several deals in distress. It's a very scary situation for them. We always kind of thank the universe, and we always, luck, plus we were very conservative and we were very cautious in the last year as interest rates have increased. We didn't buy any assets. We really sat on the sideline and told our investors, communicated with them nonstop. All of our deals are performing, thank you God. We haven't done a capital call, we're still doing monthly distributions. Again, we kind of set things up. We had large cash reserves and interest rate cap. But now it's a good buying opportunity for us at CPI.
Yeah, the question is, are we at the bottom of the market? No, not yet. But we're getting pretty close to it. So you don't want to go in at the bottom of the market because you're going to have this bull rush into the market. We want to go right before. So even if you're buying something today or in the next couple of months and you're buying it before we hit the bottom of the market, that's fine. You might pay 10% more than the bottom of the market, but at least you want to have competition. So you're going to be able to go in there and get a great deal. But we were dealing when post-COVID, when the market went insane, we couldn't even compete because the brokers were asking us to put non-refundable deposits, and we couldn't risk our opportunity costs, and in some cases our investors' costs to capital to go and put non-refundable deposits. So
it was crazy. There was like 20, 30 offers on a deal, and then people just end up overpaying. And all the people that overpaid are now in distress, right? So it's just crazy to see what's happening right now.
Real estate is cyclical. There's 4 main cycles that real estate goes through. You got recovery, expansion, hypersupply, and recession. And I had a webinar. I had John Chang and Marcus Millichap, and I pressed him on this question, and he openly said that right now we're in that recession phase of the cycle. So there's definitely great opportunities that are going to be found, but you always got to be cash flow positive. Your interest rate is now sitting at 7% in some cases. So your deal's got to be yielding well over that for it to make sense, and it's hard to find deals that are that your going in cap is going to be higher than your interest rate you're paying. So that's the game we play. We play the yield game.
And what famous person said this quote? I'm not too sure. Maybe one of my team members said the best time to buy real estate is now. Who said that? Anybody know who said that?
You?
Yes, it was. I'm not too sure, but August makes a really good point. People are like, oh, shouldn't you guys wait a little bit longer? Like, we haven't hit the bottom of the market. And to your point, why wait to the bottom of the market? There is billions of dollars of dry capital that's just going to flood in at that time, and there's no way to compete with these people, right? So
I would say still be cautious. Like I said, the deal's got to make sense, but But we're definitely gonna see some distress, and you're gonna see it in the news and stuff. You're already seeing it a lot with different groups doing capital calls, and these are experienced groups as well, groups that have historically done really well. They're doing capital calls now. So when there's blood on the streets,
Bye, baby.
Does anybody have any final questions for our awesome panel? Because it is 9 and I honestly, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, I could listen to you guys talk for the rest of the night until the wee hours in the morning. So in my promise that I would give them all back to their lives at 9 o'clock tonight. Any final questions for our panel this evening, guys? And you're welcome to hang out and network as always, but I want to make sure that we get them back to their schedule here this evening.
The blog, just go to cpicapital.ca. So cpicapital.ca, and you'll check out the blog there. Sign up to our, I think it's...
sign up to our newsletter, sign up to the investor forum, and then see what journey will take you on.
You say your lowest investment is $50,000.
That's right.
And I would just say add me on LinkedIn, Adam Carswell. Cars doing well. Adam Carswell.
By any chance, anybody, you guys cannot find them, just reach out. Y'all know me with TBREIA. Most of you don't know that I got into multifamily, which is how I split able to get lots of people here this evening. I can get you all their contact details, their social channels, so you can call them if you need anything. But guys, thank you so much. I'm so lucky to have you. I'm excited.
Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate you guys, and hope we have the lots of value to you tonight.
Nobody walked on this. Thank you.